Hey, and welcome to this tutorial. I want to show you in this video how I made this monolithical building and topography model. With monolithical, I mean that basically these houses are part of the topography, as you can see here. So this cardboard sheet has a bump out that has the exact shape of this building, making it like very easy to glue in place and also making it very accurate and also making it very monolithical and very minimal looking. So that, like, in this case, the intention was to make sure that the background stays in the background, even though it's like busy, it's full of houses and full of topography, so there's a lot happening. So we didn't want to do it the usual way, where you would build the topography separately and put the buildings on top out of styrofoam or something, or wood even, which immediately like makes a contrasting look. So that it becomes harder to distinguish like what we actually wanted to focus on. So actually, yeah, we wanted to 3D print this, but then we ran out of time. So that's probably a way to even distinguish it more. And yeah, so anyways, I'm going to show you how to make this. It's actually pretty easy. We use, like, this tutorial is heavily based on a tutorial by Nico Delic. I don't know exactly how to pronounce him, sorry. Who has like a ton of great tutorials. Really, like, watch this stuff. It's amazing. Um, we're gonna use Blender GIS, which is a plugin for Blender, so Blender as well. And for that, to get the topography, you have to register an account at Open Topography. It's gonna give you an API key that you can enter. Okay, so let's start Blender. Press A to select everything, X to delete everything. If you have Blender GIS installed, check the GitHub for instructions of how to install it. This GIS thing should pop up here. Then we import a base map, go like this. You can press G to like find this search window. We go user Sklavani. Did I type that correctly? No. Maybe I did. Then you can change the zoom level. In this case, 17 for us should work. Nice. So this is the school you were looking at, and this is this church, which I modeled by hand. This is like not an OpenStreetMap, and you will see that later. And this is the school, and this is the church. So this looks already like nice. We're in the correct place. You can zoom with your mouse wheel, but that works. Pan around with the left mouse button, and you'll figure that out. If you're happy with a place that you want to keep, press L to lock the zoom level. Now you can scroll with the scroll wheel in or out. I mean, you can even scroll out. I don't know why you would do that, but you can zoom in, which is probably like more sensible. Then it's gonna load like these mosaic tiles. Keep in mind, the more you zoom in, the higher the quality will be, and the more you will be able to distinguish detailed features in the satellite photo. But also, like, the file size is going to be bigger, and later when we import this into Rhino, Rhino is going to save that in the Rhino file, and that's going to take very long if you make a big file here, a big picture. So keep that in mind. Try to go like as low resolution as possible, as feasible for you. Don't try to be overkill with it. That's probably like a good rule in general. But, well, now we can press E for export. It's going to bring us into this window where it shows us this beautiful flat plane. So that's not really what we wanted to see, but now we can check if this is the cutout we want to. And like, I'm fine with this. This works for me. If I don't like it, I could just delete it and load in another base map. Okay, so the next step is to save this satellite picture, because it will, at least for me, I don't know if it's just me, but this will only be saved in a temp folder. And if Blender stays open, I think Rhino will also load in this after the export. But when Blender's closed or the computer is restarted, this image will have disappeared, so you won't have the this picture in Rhino anymore. So to make sure that you really get that, you have to save it. We do that by pressing like Google Satellite WM. Go under this data, I think. Yeah, exactly. This is a path that we're going to copy. So this is like I tried to re-record this the second time. We have to delete the second part here and then open it and bam, there we go. This is the picture that we want to close. I think it's a TIFF file. Yeah, it's a TIFF file. Nice. Copy that to your folder, your project folder, it's important. Don't delete it though, just copy. So, and now it's time for the topography. I like to, I don't know if it's necessary, but this is just like by try and error what I do, to add a modifier to this plane and use a subdiv, yes. This is simple. I'm not sure like what of these actually does anything, so I don't know, I'm just doing this. We can check, no. Let's apply this and see. Okay, if you press tab, Blender will switch between the object mode and the editing mode. So this is probably how it looked in this file as well. This basically controls the resolution. So maybe it's a good idea because right here you can see the steps. Like this is not a step, like imprecision of the machine that cut this out of Rhino, but basically of this grid that I'm making here. Alright, but this should work now. Maybe you could try finer, but then everything's gonna load longer and you have the same problem with the picture as well. Alright, so let's get to it. Web geodata, get elevation. This is the API key that you need the code for the account, I'm sorry. Alright, this is also what we want. This is the highest resolution that we can get. Press OK to ask the server to provide the data. Okay, so this is loaded. As you can see, now we have the topography. Looks already pretty nice. In this case, I would try to maybe lower this a little bit to not have so much detail. This should work. Let's see. Yeah, so it is basically changing the vertices of this mesh by this by this displacement texture. Alright, we can also bake that. That's fine. So now we want to load the OSM data, and we did that by web geodata, go to OSM. We press on ways, and then building. In this case, we want elevation from object, that's correct. Default building height is 8 meters in this case. It's like not really tall ceilings in Italy here, so in Sicily. So and most of these buildings have 3 stories. That means, yeah, I don't know, we can go with 8. And then just click OK. That will ask OpenStreetMap for the building contours. Exactly. So now that we got these buildings, we want to, this is a trick that I'm taking like directly from Nico Dele's tutorial. And what we're gonna do is to select, if we go here, select all of these faces that point up. So select all the ones with the same normal vector, which is going to be under select similar and normal. Then we're going to press Ctrl I to invert the selection, press X, delete all faces. Our next step is going to be select all of these meshes by selecting just 8, pressing X again, and deleting only faces. And now you should be able to see, okay, well, we've got a lot of floating lines above our topography here, and this is exactly what we want. The next step is actually going to be getting out of the editing mode, taking all of this, saving this file as an OBJ, exactly, this case, I want to save them as a tutorial. And we're gonna call it some descriptive name. Fine. Alright. Nice. Now we should be able to open Rhino. Now we open a new Rhino file using large objects meters. Now that Rhino is open, we can import this. This is like an old model I failed in the previous recording. So just open this, click import, press OK. If we press render, this should work already. Perfect. The first step is probably to check if the material and the properties, and then this tube for material, to check if the direction of this is actually your folder. Because if it's not, if it's linking to like this temp directory, like this local temp with the weird number, you're probably going to lose it when you close Blender. I closed Blender already in this case because like I tried to record this already. So make sure to go to your folder where you saved your project and use this. Perfect. Then it's not gonna get lost. Alright. Now the next thing we probably want to do is like organize this a bit. I don't know what these layers we use for. Blender import. This is super folder or like a general folder for this. Then the curves. For that we can use the filter. Select Shift, click curves, and select all of these. Change them. I can see that they were white before, so I would like to change it to by layer. That way I can see them like a bit more clear and post to my white background. I know Rhino like usually doesn't have a white background, but I changed it. Alright, this is like the Topo mesh, so let's say Topo mesh, cool, change, perfect. Now we got individual layers, very nice, very organized. Alright, the next thing to do would probably be to check for the scale, like, no, this not, actually this scale. In my case, I'm measuring like the longest distance, or like one of the longest distances I can, to make sure that the Blender import actually has the same scale. And I did this before. Like you have to search for significant points that you can find again, and that you can find even when the quality of your image is a bit shit. So in this case, I'm going from this weird squiggly house. Oh, actually, remove that. From this weird, a bit squiggly house, this corner to this corner of this terrace, basically, or like of this wall that's holding back the earth. Alright. So in this case, I'm just going to select everything, scale, go from this terrace right here, because this is like on the very edge of my map here, to this. It's also pretty close. It says here that it's about pretty much exactly 884 meters. 884. Perfect. Alright, and just a sanity check to see if we're like not making a mistake while not noticing. We can maybe check from this point here. From this point to this point, that's like something short of 70 meters. Let's see what it says here. Distance, to check the distance. And yeah, it's about that. So we are very close. This is not like 100% super accurate, but if you use like a long enough distance, the area gets really small. Alright. So now with the scaled model, we actually have to calculate like what we're doing. In this case, this model is 40 by 40 centimeters, and in 1 to 2000, so it means that we have like 800 meters in reality of brick. Alright, so that means 800 by 800. Alright, cool. Alright, let's arrange this somehow close to what we did. I think we cut it off about here. Should be about there. Okay. Maybe even a bit closer. Oh, okay, actually can't. So now I would have to go back to plan, I guess, but since this is just a tutorial, then I'm gonna go back. So maybe it's also important to make a stand, so go up. Somehow it's important to push this up. Alright. If you wonder how I'm switching between like a view, or like some views to the top view, the actual top view, I use Shift and Control at the same time, and then right click. And then if you're like in this free view, press right click, and then Shift Control again to snap into these perfect views, I guess. I don't know what they're called. Alright, so maybe just for the visibility, we can turn this on. Cool. So we checked that that our material is actually working, because if the mapping was screwed up somehow, we would have to do this right here, because we wouldn't have to take it from like this side to this side. So maybe it's a good idea to duplicate these layers and objects and make them invisible, and call them just backup. Alright, so let's do a mesh trim to cut off the excess so that we only have like the topography that we really want. Alright, and then maybe disable the Topo mesh and use the regular Rhino trim to trim off all these all this excess, all these curves that are not part. Alright, and once we did like the whole round, we can go and delete all the other unnecessary faces. That's looking very nice. We can try to join the curves, because I think all of them are disjointed curves. So let's select all of them, press join, then now they're joined, perfect. Press closed curve to close all of these curves. Perfect. So the next thing to do with all of this is to check for self-intersections. We do that by self-intersecting curve. That's exactly right. We're lucky, we only have one. So we can press isolate and zoom in on it. It looks like, okay, that's where it's self-intersecting. Maybe it is wise to separate these objects. And to do like half. Right, so now we got this, join this, close it, close this curve as well, self-intersecting. Now it's not self-intersecting anymore. Very nice. Alright. Check once again. No object selected. Very good. With the self-intersections taken care of, we can once again re-enable the Topo mesh. This is probably a good time to do a quad remesh. Not quadrangular mesh, but quad remesh, exactly. And this allows you to crush the size down, because this is going to take a long time if we in the next steps, if we want to like boolean the buildings into the terrain. So maybe let's try to reduce it by 50%. This is obviously going to mess up the mapping, but if we want to have like good mapping later, we can always try to re-enable the old backup and disable this. And this is like going to give us this good view back, this intact view. Alright. So with this meshed out, we can delete the old mesh, have basically just this new one. Alright, following the contours of this as best as possible. This is like, at this point, this is where we get to see these little jagged lines, basically like this. So this is like directly the mesh. This is why this happens. I mean, it's probably possible to smooth these lines afterwards, but very, like, probably not desirable because you're gonna smooth out like all your buildings in them. With this smooth a bit and reduce a bit in complexity, we can use the gumball to extrude this. We use align to C-plane turned on. We can just click here, have like a extrusion of the mesh. Very nice. Then we have to go into the front view. Looks like we are. Design. Open to here, and this should be this. Is this high enough? I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, it should be. Alright. And once again, make sure that we're in front of the camera. Mesh to rim to cut off the excess. For some reason it's important to like select it at all and then just click on it. Sometimes it just doesn't work otherwise. Perfect. See if we are still in the clear. Perfect. Now we got like this open mesh. We can transform this back to a nerves because that's going to make it a bit easier for Rhino to calculate, I think. I'm not really sure that's all though, but it's like 2 nerves exactly. Just say alright. Yeah, that's probably like a good time to change the material and also like Topo nerves to change this. I think there's also this mesh. This is probably like this that we can now disable. Yeah, exactly. Just put it to the default material. Very nice. Very good. Maybe it's also like a good idea to change the color a bit. Make the custom material. Change the color. Make it gray. Okay. The next step is to take all of these curves, and I apparently forgot to select these. Change them on that. And make like a new extrusion layer, put that as like the most current one, and then extrude downwards like a good amount to get these extrusions. If we turn on curves, this is basically like what the model is looking like. Like this is already basically this, but now we need to merge this because if we were to use the contour right now, it would draw like a contour here from this terrain and a contour here from this. This is like not close yet, so we can use the cap. It should just make a nice cap here. Alright, it does. Very well. So the next step is going to be to use Boolean union to join all of these basically bodies, like all of these geometries. And Boolean union sometimes is a bit finicky in Rhino. For example, if we want to, like if we select these houses, want to join them with the terrain, I think we should get an error. Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it's just a bit finicky. So let's try this smaller one. Should probably still not work. Yeah, exactly. Because I think it is that here there's like too many unions being done at once. So we have to go like a bit slower. Maybe disable like hide the terrain. Because it is wrong, I want to shade it. So disable this. Yeah. And then join all of these one by one. So probably here also like this, alright. Alright, so it seems like now I'm done. So every time I got like this error, I went in and tried to merge them one by one. Maybe you run into some different issues, then you can try to like mess with the edges and try to like make them overlap more or less. I don't know. You can decide for yourself, but in this case it should be like no error anymore when I select all of them. So try to like Boolean union all of them. Yes, it said objects do not intersect, nothing done, and as you can see, all of these blocks basically here are now their own little Boolean unions, so that means like we don't have intersections, so the merge should just work. Right, so this is the phase where we want to like change anything like final that we still want to change, when it's like still like not the same mesh or not the same object again. So in this case, it may be a good idea to re-enable the curves, maybe hide the geometry. Oh, no, sorry. Hide the geometry, re-enable this old thing, and try to reconstruct this church. Maybe for that it's even like sensible to shift this over with the vertex snap, to just try to re-enable this as much as possible. Yeah, I don't know. Do with that what you will. When you are done, when you are completely happy with all your changes and have extruded to your heart's content, and have, in this case I would just Boolean union it again with this shape to like that's like actually how I did it, to get with that. That's very nice. Also, it's a good idea because all of these are like garden sheds. It's probably a good idea to see which of them are like a bit too high and seem a bit unrealistic, and to lower them to a realistic height accordingly. Right. If you want to add the roads, now is probably also like a good time to do that. But I didn't do this like for this model, and so I won't go into that in this tutorial. I think in this case, yeah, exactly. I actually like made just a box because like this is one shape on a very very steep part of the hill, and this looks just odd. Like in every other case, I think it's fine, but this is just very odd. So in this case, I just went in. I think maybe just here, having like this little thing. Maybe yeah, I didn't. Alright. So I have to go make like a plane. Plane. Okay, right. Just do that. Where my plane go? Should be here. Take this, project top view, so that should work. This, like delete this plane, extrude this. Also delete this now, and basically like go in, put this in so it looks kind of reasonable. Yeah, maybe like that. And Boolean union that, no, actually Boolean difference that away. It's Boolean difference. What does it want me to do first? To subtract from, that's this. To subtract with, that's this. Alright. And maybe like it's possible to do it another time, but I'm just showing it for example. Like showing it to make an example. So I also know that this is like a church tower. So I think I want to extrude this. But anyway, oh yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, alright. So maybe that's something you should probably like make a box or do these adjustments even before you boolean. I don't know. With like the final adjustments made, now would be the time to try to boolean it all together. Let's see how that works. So this works. I think should be changed to shaded. Okay, now so this is like the new material. Okay, try to go further. Here we get an error. Alright, let's see. If we try to isolate this, can we maybe somehow split this by just kind of redrawing that close curve and then extruding? basically subtracting this again. No, actually, subtract from this, and just move this like the tiniest bit over so that it does not count as self-intersecting anymore. Let's see. Yeah, that should work. Very nice. Alright. Let's try to boolean it again. Let's see if it works. Oh, it worked. Very nice. Let's see if we run into more problems. And like if you do, and you will, like that's like, it takes a bit of work to do this. Yeah, you will just have to figure it out. So maybe if we take this, maybe isolate it a bit, try to fix it. I mean, to be honest, this is just the reality of this. This is just what happens. Does this work? Alright, so just extruded this. But now we like still have like some stuff that isn't booleaned into the fold right now. So let's open that. I think we can delete all of that. Go into here, enable the curves, show them. Oh, exactly. So now we see where we are missing some things. We can just go in. Maybe it's a valuable idea. We can just go in, try to extrude it as well, like once more. Hide it. Perfect. And just try to do this one by one, very slowly. But yeah, as you can see, it's only for a few exceptions. It doesn't work. But yeah, using booleans with Rhino is just a bit finicky. Yeah. Oh. So now that is perfectly in, that's very nice. Perfect. Now we are finally at the stage where this is just one big model, and now it's very easy from here. We just select the whole model. Maybe we can just make it pretty for a while. Go to Arctic. Yes. In this case, just press bounding box. Bounding box. Perfect. Just say OK. And we see, all right, this is like the bounding box it recommends to us, so I get of the whole model. But maybe we decide, okay, actually, we want to start at a specific point. So maybe exactly here, you would probably like calculate this a bit more. And then we can go to the bottom face. If we isolate this, I just isolated it. Press Ctrl and Shift and click on the bottom face. Show everything again, then this point is shown again. So now we can just use the move command to move it up to this point. And see like, okay, actually we are exactly here, which is very nice. Now we click on our completely Boolean model. Like if you want to, you can Boolean the trees in, or like carve out roads, or do something else with them. Now we use the contour Wow. Like this. Cool. Click on this point that we want to have a base point. Click on the top of this. Now we actually need to know what our in-scale measurements are. So if we have like 2 millimeters or 1 millimeters of cardboard, we obviously need to know what the scale is. I think in this situation, use 2 millimeter cardboard and in 1 to 1000, sorry, 1 to 2000. That means it's going to be 4 meters per contour. So let's say 4, and it's going to start contouring all of it. Obviously the ones in the middle take a bit more time, since there's a lot of intersections to calculate. Now we got the contours, which is pretty much our end result. We can put them in like a contours, 4 meters maybe. No, actually I want to change them. Perfect. Alright, now we can delete the bounding box. Maybe, I think this should be the Topo nerves, right? Very nice. We can delete this point too. Now it's time to only turn on the contours, and now we can see what this would actually look like. If we want to know that, we can see, okay, apparently this is like the last one, that's a full sheet. Very nice. In this case, well, it actually turned out a bit nicer than my original one. But to see what it would look like to have all of this, we can obviously make like model sim, maybe do this and -4 to get the layer height again. This should take a while. Okay, so in the end result here we're gonna have something like this. The self-intersecting curves we will have to fix though. So let's see about that. So if we disable this and do self-intersecting curves once more, isolate them, you can see, okay, those are quite complex. This looks like, okay, so actually these still reappear. Nice. Maybe we just focus on one at a time. So this curve is self-intersecting. We have to try to find out where. Okay, this is where it puts this point, apparently. So let's see how we can fix that. Should be possible to just see this intersection point, maybe, and trim this off. Let's see. This is an open curve still. Alright, what happens when we do this? Close curve. So self-intersecting. Now, it doesn't do that anymore. I mean, if you want to, you can like go through and fix stuff like this that is too small for your laser cutter, or that like your laser cutter will burn anyways if you have a laser cutter. In my case, like this model was built with a CNC machine that has like an oscillating blade that cuts these out. Actually, I think you can see this sometimes. Yeah, maybe here that it's actually cut, but it's also a bit imprecise, as you can see, like here. Or like in, but may just be our gluing. Yes, so now you can go on and refine all of this, self-intersecting again. Yes, do all of that, fine, do this, isolate, self-intersecting again. Where do we find the self-intersection? Probably here. Also, like one thing, oh no, it's actually, okay. One thing that works is to use the start curve command, or curve start. That actually shows us, yes, exactly. This is where it is. So in this case, we can actually decide what we want to do. I think maybe this is probably like still valuable, but it would just be possible to close this off like this. Oh, that's actually wrong. Huh. Well, so in this case, we could just go something like this. I mean, the machine is not gonna This is probably not gonna matter too much. Alright. And in this case we will be able to just cut this off. Let's say trim, cut out this off. Perfect. Right. Nice. So now if we do self-intersection, self-intersecting, it's not being selected for anyone. So self, do that. Alright, so we have to like fix all of these one by one. Fine, I won't do this right now. But then you would get like, you could always check this by extruding it once more. Since this takes a long time, I'm not gonna do it anymore. But yeah, exactly. And now you have contours. And this is basically like the file you want to send to the laser cutter or the CNC machine. In the case of this model that I built right here, it is not really advisable to use something like OpenNest, for example, like this, which optimizes the layout of stuff for a sheet of paper, because you will never ever find like these small stuff. Like if this is like a small part and you have like a few of them on top and they are like all over your sheets, you will never find them again. This is why when I did this, I selected like I made like a copy of this whole thing so that it doesn't really get lost. Got like the first layer, selected it like this, so only like the base layer. Yeah, exactly. And pull it out, just pull it out. Also, one thing you can probably do is reduce polyline to basically like see if you have like unnecessary polygons. It's like a good command for that. So yeah, and that's kind of like the work. Now you just have to take all of these, maybe from C-plane, and pull all of them in such a direction. This should be reducible, right? No? Okay, apparently something about that is valuable. I mean, the laser cutter is probably gonna reduce this anyways. I don't know what that is. Alright. And basically, like, here you would have to do like your sheet of paper, however big it is, in scale in this case, because this is still the real world scale. So I would have to multiply my paper size by 2000 and just start laying out like all of these things. And like for like specific buildings like this, it's probably advisable to put them next to each other. But you can figure this out yourself. I'll just show you how the file for my for the finished product for this model looked. All right, so this is how the model looked. I can switch to Arctic so it's a bit more clear. This is how the final model looked. I cut out more of stuff where we actually wanted to put in our buildings that was supposed to be 3D printed, but in the end we didn't actually have the time to do that. I don't know, it looks this weird. This is also like the school, which we did extra like with 1mm cardboard, and this all is like supposed to be in 2mm cardboard. You can see like the church as well. And this is how it looks on the paper. So basically, there's like one sheet of paper that's really full with like a ton of detail, and the other ones like really go downhill from there. Really showing now how much this actually is. All of these sheets, like these sheets, for example, for this 40 by 40 model, are 1 meter by 70 centimeters, and this is like the sheet that was supposed to, or like that we used to make the detailed buildings. All right, so I hope this helps. I hope this gives you an idea of how much work it is. Also, just like as an impression, this model took probably like two people 2 days to assemble. Like we did it for over a longer period of time, and we actually did it in like packets. So we did like the first 6, the first 8, the first 10 layers, glued them together and just let them sit for a day. And that's a very, very good idea because the last thing you want to do is to glue them together too fast and have them like switch and shift a bit so that it doesn't look as nice. I mean, even this doesn't really look super nice, especially like here, where it's like a bit stair-steppy, but it's really, really hard to avoid this. And actually, we are like very happy how this turned out. Well, so I hope this helps. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments down below, or if you know me, just write to me, I guess. Yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.